Do you like treasure? Assembling a team of monsters? Traveling to a distant land? How about some heavy nostalgia? Dragon Quest Treasures is a game dripping with nostalgia and tantalizing your nose with treasure. Hello you glorious gamers, and welcome to my review of Dragon Quest Treasures. Thank you to Square Enix for providing me with a review copy. I hope I don't have to introduce the Dragon Quest series to you. Otherwise, this might be a confusing video. Dragon Quest Treasures is a spin-off of the Dragon Quest series, leaving the turn-based combat aside to become more action-focused. This game is essentially about hunting down treasure and making it back to your base with it. While not without its issues, which I shall get into, the gameplay loop is fun and addictive, especially in short bursts. So let's dive into this. The game starts with Eric and Mia escaping the Viking pirate ship with the mystical animals they rescued, with Eric avoiding a rather questionable magazine. These animals lead them to magic daggers that open a portal to a strange land. There you meet gangs of treasure hunters, from the friendly rivalry of the Sylphians to the more antagonistic Thunderous Plunderers. That's about all the upfront story you will get for most of the game actually, but I will get to that later. The goal of the game seems to be collecting the 7 Dragon Stones? I thought the pirate crew were going to be silly comical enemies in the game, especially when I met Mogsworth. Of course, then I met the captain. Whoa, he has shoulder pads for days, and massive hands. I guess even the skeleton is a little bit comical. The game revolves around, well, treasure. You build your gang with monsters you recruit. Find treasure to store in your base, increasing your overall treasure hoard value, all the while searching for the 7 mystical stones. The Dragon Stones. Now, I do have a gripe here. I thought I would get some story, a cutscene, any kind of acknowledgement after collecting a Dragon Stone. I was wrong, and that trend kind of continued. The story in this game is okay, it's cute. Don't expect any insight into Eric and Mia. They basically become silent protagonists for most of the game. I would not say the story is a draw for Dragon Quest Treasures. The story is light-hearted and, well, light. But it does give you a clear goal right from the start. The gameplay loop and islands are the real draw here, as well as the monsters. You build up your base's facilities, adding new ones or expanding previous ones. This involves donating a specific monster or item. I name my treasure hunting team Raftel. I mean, they are basically treasure hunting pirates. Bonus points if you actually get that reference. And yes, I know it's the wrong name. The game has a simple if effective loop. Do quests and gather treasure to build up your gang and treasure hoard in order to become more capable and go for the Dragon Stones. It's simple and effective. I like watching number go higher. Combat is second to the main focus of finding treasure, which is further emphasized by Eric and Mia not really taking center stage in battles. They are definitely the support. Well, you can try take center stage, but I did not find them as effective. Combat is mostly done by your monster teammates. You can use your slingshot and do some decent damage if you target elemental weaknesses. Like I said, you are mostly a support role, such as shooting your teammates with healing pellets or other pellets to buff and debuff. So I'm a bit surprised you can attack with your special daggers. Not sure why I went in expecting combat that feels like Monster Hunter. I was definitely wrong about that. Strangely, combat feels more fluid in Dragon Quest Builders 2, or at least attacking does. Weird. At least you can dodge here. The mystical daggers Eric and Mia have are actually central to many gameplay mechanics. They allow you to heal yourself, use super attacks, locate treasure nearby, and let you see through monsters' eyes to find said treasure, as well as other mystical story-related things. Every monster has their own treasure preferences, and the islands change its treasure forecasts every now and then. If you bring a team of monsters to an island where their preferences match the treasure forecast, you will increase the golden ratio, a percentage score that increases the likelihood of you finding treasure on that island. So it always encourages you to bring different monsters with you. However, another thing to keep in mind when selecting a team is the monster's abilities, or should I say fortes. Each monster can provide an ability that helps you with adventuring, whether it is gliding on a monster or riding it, or even throwing you up into the air to reach a ledge. My favorite is the ability to ride a monster. Makes traversal so much easier. I just wish there was not a time limit for it. Your monsters carry your treasure for you. So the amount of treasure pieces you can carry depends on the types of monsters in your party. They can actually drop your treasure when attacked. so you might want to watch out for that. This game is filled with references to other Dragon Quest games, especially with the treasure. I mean, you literally get statues of characters from other games. Some of my first statues were from my first Dragon Quest game, Dragon Quest 9. Love that game. Rival gangs will attack you in field or launch attacks on your base to steal your treasure. If you successfully defend your treasure, its value will go up. But if you fail, they will steal it and try hide it away. So all is not lost. You can track them down and recover it. Then there is a snarl, basically your hideout's weird basement. There are teleportals and connected rooms, which basically lead to this gauntlet of fights. But completing these dungeons gives you rewards. You can send teams of monsters on dispatch missions to gather resources and sometimes treasure. These are useful for passively gathering resources for food and pellets, as well as increasing your treasure value. They can also bring treasure maps and rumors of bejeweled monsters. Speaking of bejeweled monsters, you want to hunt them down for their treasure and the bragging rights of recruiting them. I mean, they are so shiny. Who wouldn't want a team of them? Be quick though, once engaged they are quick to scamper away. And to recruit a monster, you need to beat it in battle and hope it wants to join you. Then it will apply at your base for membership. You can also use special pellets to up your recruitment chance. I am divided on having dual protagonists. On one hand, it gives you some variety, which is good if you want that, because there is literally no difference between them. It is purely an aesthetic choice, which is the downside. There is no difference between them. They are basically the same person with the personality of, I want treasure. Funny fact, Eric doesn't know what a hot boss is, which is actually not that funny and kind of sad when you think about it. There are online features to this game. You can hide replicas of your treasure for other players to find. And you can find other players' replicas. They don't add to your treasure hoard's value, but you can still sell it for gold coins. You can also send your monster out with your favorite piece of treasure to other players' bases. They show off there. I actually enjoyed the little bit I interacted with it. Do I think they could have added the ability to raid other players' bases? Yes, that would have been awesome. But I still had some fun with what they added. Dragon Quest Treasures is nice and colorful with a cel-shaded art style. I judge games not by their high fidelity, but by its presentation. And I will be honest, I like a bit of brightness and color in my games. So this one did not disappoint. Its islands are beautiful, it uses its color well. I do wish some things could be sharper looking, but that is a minor issue, I guess. As a Dragon Quest game, this one brings back a lot of old music. So, on the bright side, there are tracks I love hearing, while simultaneously giving me tracks I really am not fond of. That is more of my personal take. I really like some Dragon Quest soundtracks, but not all. So in regards to soundtrack, it is more Dragon Quest. Positive or negative, take that as you will. There is one piece that caught my attention. It is quite unique sounding, so I was caught off guard when I heard it. The monsters in your party actually have lines too. They are repeated often and some monsters become a bit grating. Dragon Quest Treasures is Steamdeck verified. However, there were a few minor issues. While cloud saving did work, when I switched from PC to Steam Deck, the screen would not match. So I would only be able to see about 1/4 of the full screen. Of course, it is an easy fix. Just go into the options menu and it will automatically resize itself. Dragon Quest Treasures unfortunately does not support the Steam Deck's 1280 by 800 resolution, leaving only 720 as an option. On a full charge, with the game set to 40 frames, I could get just under 2 hours. So, not that good, but not as bad as it could be. It's a bit less than I thought, but I did have all the settings on max. Speaking of which, I did dip occasionally to 35 frames in certain areas, but I figure some light tweaking of the settings will help. Overall, it ran well and I enjoyed playing on the Steam Deck. A decent chunk of my total playtime was on it. Now onto some nitpicks and what I specifically liked. So while I actually enjoyed the game, there are things I should criticize. I don't like that it is not fully voice acted. They only voice some or the beginning of their lines usually.
Ho ho!
I would love some quality of life changes also. Dispatch missions can take a while to sort out. I mean, you can have multiple teams sent out. I would really like a receive all option. There are these cute cutscenes that play out every time you send out a team or receive one. You have to watch this cutscene for each team. And when you are continuously welcoming back around 4 teams at once, it can add up to some decent time taken. Also, when you're selecting an island to go to, I would love if that map showed where your highlighted mission is on the island. There are multiple stations on each island and I keep going to the wrong one. so I'm always far away and have to get on the train and go to the right station. Lastly, when you receive an iconic treasure, the reveal, it takes forever. I understand you can skip all the reveals, but sometimes I like to watch. I just don't want to commit 10 seconds to one item. I will compliment how easy they made lining up the monster's treasure preferences with the island forecast. That way I don't have to dig through the monster menus to find their preferred treasure type and try match it. I really like gathering treasure and displaying it in the treasure room. It's simple, but satisfying. It's always a nice surprise to see all the callbacks to other games in the series. Speaking of which, the fan service really does it for me. I also like that I can quickly pop into the game and hunt some treasure. The short burst action of it is excellent. I kept going back for just one more run. Rather addictive at times. So, what can I say about Dragon Quest Treasures? It is a charming game, full of nostalgia, but light on story, with an addictive gameplay loop, which is good for short bursts, but may get repetitive after a while, depending on the person. If what I described fits your wants perfectly and you love Dragon Quest, then I would say go for it. But for everyone else, while a fun game, maybe wait for a sale, then I can recommend it. If you are still here and found this video helpful, entertaining, or just good, please consider liking and subscribing. It will really help me out. Thank you for watching.